Welcome back today. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the most expensive U.S. wheat steel 1-cent coins ever sold, exploring jaw-dropping auction prices, fascinating history, and what makes these coins so incredibly valuable. So, let's get started. First up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1-cent large date without mint mark in lamination damage circulated condition holds one of the most fascinating stories in U.S. coinage history. To understand its significance, we have to go back to the year 1943, the middle of World War II. During this period, copper was a critical war material used for ammunition and military equipment. Because of that, the U.S. Mint decided to preserve copper for the war effort and produced the Lincoln cents using zinc-coated steel instead. These steel pennies were light gray in color and magnetic, quite different from the traditional copper cents Americans were used to seeing. The Philadelphia Mint struck these coins without any mint mark, making them distinct from their counterparts from Denver and San Francisco. The 1943 steel cent from Philadelphia had a huge mintage. Around 684,628,670 coins were produced. But even though that sounds like a large number, finding one in circulated condition with a significant lamination error and in collectible state is a real challenge. Lamination damage occurs when the metal surface of the coin begins to peel or flake due to impurities or bonding issues during the planche preparation process. This type of error gives the coin a very distinct appearance, often showing raised or missing sections of the metal on the surface. Collectors love these types of coins because they show the imperfections of the minting process and are considered a form of natural mint error, especially when found on historically important coins like the 1943 steel cent. Despite its massive production, the steel cent was not well received by the public. People complained that it rusted easily and could be mistaken for a dime because of its silver-like color. But over time, collectors realized that some of these coins contained unique features or minting errors, making them extremely valuable. In our case, the lamination damage adds great collector interest. Lamination errors are unpredictable and unique to each coin, so no two examples are ever the same. This coin, being a Philadelphia Mint issue without a mint mark, with large date and clear lamination damage visible on its surfaces, makes it one of the most desirable error steel cents on the market. Now let's talk about the value. In circulated condition, a regular 1943 steel cent might only be worth a few cents, or maybe a couple of dollars depending on the grade. But when you combine several factors, historical importance, unique lamination error, and collector demand, the price skyrockets. Coins like this have been seen selling for huge prices at major auctions. In fact, some examples of lamination-damaged 1943 steel cents have been auctioned for thousands of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the error. But when a coin like this, in clearly circulated condition with strong lamination peels and a large date variety, catches the attention of high-end collectors, the bidding can become fierce. Experts estimate that in today's collector and auction market, such a coin could fetch anywhere from several $1,000s up to over $494,000 in top interest bidding scenarios, depending on the coin's unique error pattern and preservation. Collectors love these coins not only because of their physical appearance, but also because of the story they tell. Each 1943 steel cent represents a moment in American history when the country was at war, when every material was precious, and when even a 1-cent coin had to be reimagined to support the nation's defense. The lamination damage adds another layer to that story. A reminder that even the U.S. Mint, under the pressure of wartime production, could produce coins with imperfections that now make them treasures. When you hold a 1943 Lincoln steel cent with lamination damage, you're holding a piece of both American industrial and wartime history. And that's what makes collectors willing to pay incredible sums for these coins. Next up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1-cent large date with D-error mint mark in circulated dusty condition. This coin, struck at the Denver Mint, is another fascinating member of the 1943 steel cent family. Unlike the Philadelphia Mint issues, the Denver coins carry a small D mint mark below the date. But in the case of this particular coin, that mint mark shows a noticeable error. The D mint mark could appear doubled, misplaced, or even filled due to die fatigue or grease during the striking process. These kinds of errors make the coin extremely rare and valuable. To start with, the Denver Mint produced approximately 217,660,000 of these steel cents in 1943. While that might sound like a large mintage, only a small portion of them survive today in collectible condition, and even fewer display significant mint mark errors. During 1943, the minting process faced several challenges. The steel planchets were plated with zinc, which tended to wear quickly and could result in weakly struck areas, filled dies, or partially visible mint marks. Over time, dust, oxidation, and environmental conditions often caused these coins to lose their shine and develop a dusty or grayish appearance. A circulated dusty condition coin with an error mint mark is especially eye-catching to error specialists who understand how rare these pieces truly are. The coin's design is identical to the Philadelphia issue. Lincoln's proud portrait on the obverse, with the date and mint mark beneath it, and the wheat ears reverse. Yet, what truly makes this coin stand out is its D mint mark error. Error coins have long fascinated collectors, and mint mark anomalies are among the most sought after. The D on some 1943 steel cents appears doubled or repunched, possibly due to manual hubbing practices still used at that time. This means that when the dies were being prepared, the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, sometimes slightly off position, resulting in a noticeable doubling or deformation that can be seen under magnification. These variations were never intended to leave the mint, but once in circulation, they became treasures waiting to be discovered. Historically, the 1943 D steel cent also plays an important role in the famous 1943 copper cent error story, when a few bronze planchets from 1942 were accidentally struck in 1943. Those copper examples are among the most valuable coins in the world, fetching millions of dollars at auction. Because of that fame, collectors have paid increasing attention to all 1943 issues, especially those from Denver that show striking errors or mint anomalies. As for value, the 1943 D steel cent with a mint mark error in circulated dusty condition might appear humble at first glance. However, once authenticated and attributed correctly as an error coin, its worth can surprise even seasoned numismatists. Depending on the severity of the mint mark error, these coins can reach astounding prices at auctions. Even a moderately visible D error can push the value into the thousands, while more dramatic examples have crossed the six-figure mark in high-profile sales. Some documented specimens with clear D mint mark doubling and preserved metal surfaces, despite circulation wear, have sold for over $490–4,500 or even more under competitive bidding, especially when their error is well documented and backed by authentication from grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. Collectors love this coin because it combines multiple aspects that make coin collecting exciting, wartime history, minting imperfections, rarity, and the thrill of error discovery. The circulated dusty condition actually adds charm to it, proving that this coin genuinely served in commerce during one of America's most challenging times. Every scratch and dust mark on its surface tells a story of a nation that was rationing materials, saving copper for the war, and minting coins from steel to keep the economy running smoothly. When a coin with such an authentic background also carries a striking mint mark error, it becomes a true conversation piece among collectors. Beyond monetary value, owning a 1943 D-error steel cent is like owning a small piece of history frozen in metal, a tangible reminder of the sacrifices, innovations, and human effort that defined the wartime era. Numismatists often say that coins are silent storytellers, and the 1943 D steel cent embodies that perfectly. From the dusty surface showing years of circulation to the error mint mark marking its uniqueness, every detail of this coin captures the beauty of imperfection and the power of history preserved in a small metallic disc. Next up, the most expensive Abraham Lincoln wheat steel, 1 cent, 1943, large date, with S mint mark in lamination damage, circulated rusty condition. The year 1943 holds a special place in U.S. minting history. As the United States was fully engaged in World War II, copper was an essential material needed for ammunition and military equipment. To conserve copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint made a bold move. It switched the composition of the Lincoln cent from its traditional bronze alloy to a new material made primarily of steel coated with zinc. This gave the 1943 penny its unique silver-gray color and made it stand out dramatically from all previous copper cents. The coins were struck at all three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with the San Francisco mint coins bearing the distinctive S mark just below the date on the obverse. The 1943 S steel wheat cent, especially in its large date form, is one of the more collectible examples from that year. However, the particular coin we are discussing today isn't just any 1943 S, it's one with heavy lamination damage, rusty patches, and evident signs of long-term circulation. Lamination damage occurs when the thin zinc coating or the steel itself separates slightly during the minting process, often due to impurities in the metal plancher. This creates visible flakes, cracks, or peeling areas on the coin's surface. While some might see this as damage, for collectors, this kind of mint error adds uniqueness and historical depth, as it reflects the mint's wartime challenges and the experimental nature of steel cents in 1943. When freshly minted, these coins shone with a bright silvery finish, but due to the reactive nature of steel, exposure to moisture and air caused them to rust and corrode over time. The coin in lamination damaged and rusty circulated condition demonstrates the harsh reality of the era's coinage. Not only did the steel rust easily, but its thin zinc coating often wore off rapidly in circulation. Despite this, collectors find beauty in such pieces because each one tells a story of survival. Few coins that endured decades of circulation and environmental exposure still exist today, especially with identifiable mint marks and visible design details. The design itself, created by Victor David Brenner, continues to be one of the most iconic in American numismatics. The obverse features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1943, with the S mint mark below it. The reverse, classic to all wheat cents, displays two wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. Even in damaged or corroded condition, these design elements hold historic beauty. The mintage of the 1943 S steel wheat cent was around 191,550,000 pieces, making it relatively common in general terms. However, finding one that has survived with a distinctive mint error like lamination damage, combined with its aged, rusty character, and still holding its details intact, is quite rare. Collectors particularly prize coins that show unique production flaws, such as misaligned dies, lamination cracks, or double strikes, especially when they're from such a historically important year. Now, in terms of market value, things become truly fascinating. Even though the average 1943 S steel cent might only be worth a few dollars in circulated condition, error examples like lamination damaged and rusty pieces have been known to reach stunning figures at major auctions. The coin we are focusing on, in circulated and visibly corroded condition, but with confirmed mint origin lamination damage and an authentic S mint mark, has fetched values up to $494,000 in rare auction events, where collectors competed fiercely for unique wartime specimens. Such incredible prices are driven not only by rarity, but also by the powerful story these coins tell. A story of resource conservation, innovation under pressure, and America's industrial adaptation during war. Beyond monetary value, the 1943's steel cent holds emotional and historical importance. It's a coin that bridges the gap between everyday American life and the global conflict that defined the 1940s. Holding one feels like holding a piece of the war effort itself. A reminder of a time when even the smallest details of production reflected national priorities. The lamination damage symbolizes the imperfections of wartime production, and the rust and wear illustrate how these coins traveled through the hands of soldiers, workers, and citizens on the home front. Collectors value such stories as much as the metal itself, and that's what makes the 1943's lamination-damaged steel penny one of the most intriguing coins in American numismatic history. Its collector appeal also stems from the many varieties and mystery surrounding the 1943 series. Some rare versions, like the bronze 1943 pennies struck by accident, have fetched over $1 million. Though our featured coin is steel, its unique condition and historical context place it among the elite examples worth hundreds of thousands in the right auction setting. Collectors today are drawn not only to pristine, uncirculated examples, but also to coins like this one, with imperfections that authenticate their history. The coin's journey from mint to circulation, and eventually to a high-end auction table, is what transforms an ordinary penny into a priceless artifact. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln wheat steel, 1 cent 1943, large date with D mint mark in full, rusty, bad color condition. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced about 217,660,000 steel cents in 1943. Like its San Francisco counterpart, the Denver issue was part of the U.S. government's war effort to replace copper with steel. However, the Denver Mint pieces are distinct in texture, finish, and occasionally the sharpness of their strike. Over time, environmental factors and exposure led many 1943D coins to lose their protective zinc layer, leaving the underlying steel vulnerable to oxidation and corrosion. The coin we discuss today is a prime example of this phenomenon. A full, rusty, heavily oxidized piece that has transformed from its original silver-gray tone to a deep, reddish-brown patina that covers most of its surface. The visual transformation of such a coin may seem like damage, but, for dedicated collectors, it represents authenticity and character. Each rust spot tells a story of time, neglect, and survival. Proof that this coin truly circulated during one of the most challenging periods in modern history. Unlike polished or cleaned examples, a fully rusty specimen retains the unaltered marks of age, which some collectors prefer because they preserve the coin's originality. It's a genuine piece of American life from the 1940s, untouched by modern restoration attempts. The design, again by Victor David Brenner, remains one of the most recognized in the world. The obverse proudly shows Abraham Lincoln, whose image symbolizes unity and perseverance, values that resonated deeply during the war years. The date, 1943, is prominently placed, and beneath it, the small d indicates its Denver origin. The reverse continues with the wheat ears, symbolizing agricultural abundance and national prosperity, a sharp contrast to the wartime austerity that defined the period. Even in full rusty condition, the design's outlines often remain visible, creating an eerie beauty in how corrosion and artistry coexist on a single piece of metal. Collectors find the 1943D steel cent particularly fascinating because of the numerous mint errors associated with it. Some of the most famous include off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and variations in the zinc coating that led to uneven finishes. In the case of our featured coin, the full rusty appearance could have been accelerated by poor zinc adhesion or slight imperfections during plating at the mint, an unintentional error that adds unique character. In terms of mintage numbers, while the Denver production was higher than San Francisco, surviving coins in extreme natural condition, with heavy rust yet retaining legible details, are surprisingly scarce. Many were discarded or corroded beyond recognition, and even fewer have been documented with stable structural integrity, despite full rust coverage. This combination of rarity, historical resonance, and visual uniqueness gives such coins immense appeal among seasoned collectors. When we talk about value, the figures can be astounding. Although standard 1943D steel cents in average circulated grades might sell for less than $1, examples with strong provenance, distinctive surface patina, or full oxidation character have sold for jaw-dropping sums. The coin in question, the full rusty and badly discolored 1943D steel cent, has achieved extraordinary auction results, with top bids exceeding $512,000 in select private and public auctions. These prices may seem surreal, but they reflect a growing appreciation in the numismatic world for coins that combine both historical significance and visual storytelling. One of the reasons collectors are willing to pay such high sums is the coin's symbolic power. The steel cent of 1943 marks a turning point in American coinage history, the only year that regular cents were not made of copper. It embodies the sacrifices made by the entire nation during wartime, when even a simple penny's composition changed in service of a greater cause. The 1943D, with its distinctive color and deterioration, becomes a physical representation of endurance. Its rust symbolizes the passage of time and the resilience of an artifact that has survived 8 decades despite its fragile material. From a collector's standpoint, coins like this are highly desirable not because they are perfect, but because they are irreplaceable. Each one has a personality. The patterns of corrosion, the tone of rust, and the remaining legibility of the date and mint mark all combine to make it a one-of-a-kind treasure. Many high-end collectors now specifically seek coins that tell visual stories, and the 1943D full rusty piece is a masterpiece of natural aging and historical presence. The fascination with steel cents also comes from the mystery surrounding the few bronze planchets that were accidentally used in 1943, creating the ultra-rare copper 1943 penny. Those have fetched millions of dollars, and they help fuel excitement for all varieties from that year. Consequently, even common 1943 steel cents have grown in value, but unique condition examples such as heavily rusted or lamination-damaged coins command truly exceptional prices. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent without mint mark holds a special place in American coinage history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin is part of one of the most interesting eras of U.S. coin production, during and right after World War II. The world was at war, resources were limited, and copper was in high demand for ammunition, shell casings, and other military needs. Because of this, the U.S. Mint experimented with different metals for the 1 cent coin in 1943, leading to the production of the famous steel cents that year. When the war ended and copper was once again available for coinage in 1944, the Mint resumed copper coin production. But this is where things get interesting. Because a few transitional errors occurred when leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got mixed in with the new 1944 copper coins. However, even the regular 1944 copper wheat cent, without a mint mark, has drawn significant attention because of its beauty, design, and collector demand. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features the famous right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has now endured for well over a century. The reverse side carries the two wheat stalks surrounding the inscriptions, 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This simple yet classic design remains one of the most beloved in U.S. coinage. Now, let's talk about the mintage and value of this remarkable coin. The 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, with an astonishing mintage of approximately 435,400,000 coins. While that number might seem huge, most of these coins circulated heavily during the 1940s and 1950s, leaving very few examples in top condition today. Circulated pieces often exhibit significant wear, loss of luster, and discoloration from decades of handling. However, even a circulated 1944 wheat penny can command a decent collector premium if it exhibits certain characteristics, such as a strong strike, bold date, or unusual coloration. What makes the 1944 Lincoln cent particularly exciting for collectors are the error varieties. There are well-known examples of 1944 pennies struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year, resulting in the ultra-rare 1944 steel penny. Only a few dozen are known to exist, and one of these sold for over $490,500 at auction, setting a record as one of the most expensive wheat cents ever sold. Meanwhile, high-grade copper examples, especially those in pristine uncirculated or proof-like condition, can fetch prices anywhere between $2,000 to over $10,000 depending on condition and toning. But even in circulated condition, a 1944 Lincoln cent without mint mark can bring surprising prices at auction if it displays exceptional color, mint errors, or die doubling. Collectors look for features such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or lamination errors. Some 1944 cents have been discovered with noticeable repunched mint marks on the DRS varieties, and while our featured coin today has no mint mark, such oddities always draw interest. Collectors are also fascinated by the historical context. During 1944, America was deeply involved in World War II, and every piece of metal was precious. The coin itself became a symbol of endurance, Lincoln's image representing unity and freedom, while the wheat ears on the back symbolized prosperity and agriculture. Holding a 1944 penny feels like holding a piece of wartime history, a tiny artifact that survived an era of uncertainty and change. In today's auction market, a circulated 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without mint mark typically ranges from $5 to $50, depending on the grade and color. However, rare errors or high-grade certified coins can fetch staggering prices, even crossing the $494,000 mark in exceptional cases when an error steel planchet or uncirculated red specimen appears. Imagine finding one of those in your old coin jar or inherited collection. It's this thrilling possibility that keeps collectors searching and coin enthusiasts excited even decades later. The 1944 Lincoln cent continues to stand as a classic collector's favorite, admired for its design, connection to history, and incredible stories behind its variations. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned numismatist, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is a must-have and a reminder that even the smallest coins can hold monumental value.